Hello, and thank you for joining the Will Podcast. Today I'm going to be discussing qualitative research and making meaning from an adventure, a case study of boys' experiences of outdoor education at school by Lee Davidson. I'll be critically analysing this journal by talking about a number of different aspects, which include methodology, methods, theoretical position, ethics, and the qualitative and quantitative data used within. I'll start by addressing the methodology that Davidson uses, which is qualitative data in the form of case studies. Now, Davidson discusses quantitative data used in similar studies to this and remarks upon how the questionnaire method is lackluster and is a poor methodological framework. However, in the Sage Book of Case-Based Methods 2009, David Burton and Charles C. Reagan discuss how using human interpretation as a form of data collection could create biases within the research. In a similar vein to this point, in the book Doing Qualitative Research 2022, David Silverman suggests that qualitative methods of research are not superior to other forms of attaining information and should be used accordingly to the situation. However, there is evidence to support Davidson's claim. In the book How to Do Your Case Study 2011, Gary Thomas talks about how case studies are a way of researching natural sciences compared to the other traditional sciences, and that there is no definitive way of creating evidence. This point is further backed up by Quality and Quantity in Social Research 1988, where Alan Bryman discusses how the scientific method of research doesn't take into account the unique characteristics of individuals when being surveyed. So now we're going to move on to the methods used by Davidson, and one of these is participant observation, which is one of the key aspects of this case study. So Davidson remarks upon how, with this method, you can collect a rich amount of information, but only from a relatively small amount of people. However, as previously mentioned, the data collected from this is up to the interpretation of the observer. This concept is brought up by the book Participant Observation, A Guide for Field Workers 2010, where Kathleen and Billy DeWalt consider that due to the observers having their own personal experiences, that creates a bias of the judgments that they make and therefore affect the result of the research. Going on from this, a solution to this issue could be a mixed methods approach using both qualitative and quantitative data. This idea is mentioned in the book Foundations of Mixed Methods Research 2000, where Abbas Tashokuri and Charles Tedley mention how using a mix of both forms of research can assist you in using the right tools for the right situation. Another method that was used was semi-structured interviews, in which the participants were directed to talk about the subject that they were most interested in regards to their outdoor pursuit. And Alan Bryan in Social Research Methods 2016 brings up a point of how semi-structured interviews opens a way for the interviewee to talk more openly about what they're being interviewed about. So in that way, they aren't limited to a specific structure as compared to structured interviews. So going on to the theoretical position that Davidson takes in the studies, I think it's shown through the journal and the type of methods they use. So qualitative data and the fact that it's a case study shows an interpretivist point of view. So talking about the benefits of the interpretivist view, in the book Stephen Turner and the Philosophy of the Social, which was published in 2021, Christopher Adair Totev suggests that scientific data is not essential to the process of research, can be dismissed. And this also brings us back to what Gary Thomas said about how because this is more of a research of a natural science rather than the traditional kind of sciences, so say, physics and biology and chemistry, it's another point to add about the detriments of the scientific method, which is quite a big theme within this journal. So I'm going to talk about the ethics a bit now. And although in this journal it's not specifically stated that they were using informed consent, which is a key part of making any kind of study ethical. And this is brought up by Gary Comstock, which is in the book Research Ethics 2012. And he talks about how part of the ethical research includes gaining informed consent. And this is also backed up by Bruce McFarlane in Researching with Integrity, 2009. So I'd like to conclude this by saying that I think the way that Davidson conducted this research and using qualitative methods really did benefit him for this type of study, considering it's about people's experiences in an outdoor environment and doing things like semi-structured interviews and doing observation was a good way of figuring out what people thought, because as it's been shown in this study, scientific methods might not really be able to do that. But I would like to say that through the books that I've looked at, a mixed methods approach could benefit him a lot better in a future study, or benefit anyone potentially in a future study. And also, I think using a singular paradigm, in this case, interpretivism, could have potentially been another detriment, since Davidson very much stuck to qualitative data. So, I think being a bit more open-minded about using different research methods could have benefited him in the long run. But thank you for listening, and I hope you have a good day.